The storm came out of nowhere. One minute we were laughing on the deck of a small charter boat, the sun dipping low over the ocean, painting the sky orange and gold. The next minute, the sky turned charcoal gray, the wind howled like something alive, and waves as tall as buildings crashed against us. I remember grabbing the railing, feeling the boat tilt beneath my feet, and thinking, this is how it ends. But it didn't. If you believe in stories that prove kindness can change everything, even in the darkest, most unexpected moments, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Here on your channel name, we tell real, heartfelt stories that remind us what truly matters. Now let me tell you what happened after that storm, and why I will never see kindness the same way again. When I woke up, my mouth was full of sand. The world felt quiet. Too quiet. I opened my eyes and saw palm trees swaying under a cloudy sky. The ocean stretched endlessly in front of me. The wreckage of the boat was scattered across the shoreline like broken toys. And then I saw her. She was standing a few yards away, barefoot in the wet sand, her white dress clinging to her in the humid air. She looked just as shocked as I felt. Blonde hair tangled by the wind. Eyes searching the horizon. We were the only two people there. Her name was Claire. We didn't talk much at first. Shock has a way of stealing your words. We searched the beach for anyone else, calling out until our throats burned. But no one answered. The island wasn't big. A strip of sand, a small patch of trees, a few rocky edges along one side. No houses. No boats. No smoke from distant fires. Just us. I had always thought of myself as practical. Logical. I worked in finance back in Chicago. Numbers made sense. Plans made sense. But standing on that island, all the plans I'd ever made felt useless. Claire was different. She wasn't panicking. She wasn't crying. She looked scared, yes, but steady. Focused. We need water, she said calmly. And shelter before night. That was the first moment I saw her kindness. Not the soft, polite kind. Not the kind where someone holds a door open. This was the kind that shows up when fear could take over, but doesn't. We worked together that first day like we'd known each other for years. We found coconuts. We dragged pieces of the boat into a pile and built a small lean-to under the trees. We used a broken mirror shard and dry leaves to start a small fire as the sun went down. When darkness fell, the island changed. The wind grew colder. Strange sounds echoed from the trees. Every rustle made my heart jump. I'd never felt so small in my life. Claire sat across from me by the fire, her face glowing orange in the flickering light. "Are you married?" she asked quietly. I shook my head. "Divorced." She nodded. "Me too." Silence stretched between us, filled with the crash of waves. "I guess we're both good at surviving things," she said with a faint smile. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the storm. The fear. The possibility that no one would find us. At some point, I must have drifted off, because I woke up to the sound of Claire crying. Not loud sobbing. Just soft, quiet tears. I sat up immediately. "Hey. What's wrong?" She wiped her face quickly, embarrassed. "Nothing. I'm sorry." "It's not nothing." She stared into the dark trees for a long moment before speaking. "I have a daughter," she said. "She's 6. I keep thinking about her waking up and me not being there." Her voice broke. In that moment, something shifted inside me. Up until then, I'd been focused on my own fear. My own survival. But hearing her talk about her daughter made everything feel bigger than just me. I moved closer, not even thinking about it. "You're going to see her again," I said firmly. We're getting off this island. I didn't know if it was true. But I knew she needed to hear it. That was the first time I understood something important. Sometimes kindness isn't about facts. It's about hope. The days blurred together after that. We created a system. Every morning, we searched the shoreline for signs of boats. We used rocks to spell out help in giant letters across the sand. We rationed food. We collected rainwater in pieces of plastic we'd salvaged. There were moments of frustration. One afternoon, I snapped. We had tried to climb the rocky side of the island to get a better view of the ocean, and I slipped, scraping my arm badly. Blood ran down to my wrist. I cursed loudly, kicking a stone into the water. "This is pointless," I muttered. "No one's coming." Claire walked over slowly. She tore a strip from the inside lining of her dress and gently wrapped it around my arm. "Don't," she said softly. "Don't what?" "Don't give up before we have to." I looked at her, annoyed. "You don't know that we're getting out of here." "No," she said. "But I know we won't if we stop trying." Her hands were steady as she tied the fabric tight. That was the second time her kindness hit me, not as comfort, but as strength. That night, after we'd eaten a small dinner of fruit and what little we could gather, we sat watching the horizon turn pink. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said something that stopped my heart. "I'm just a woman," she began slowly. "And you're what I want." I turned to her, confused. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't flirting. "I don't mean, like that," she said quickly. "I mean right now. In this moment. I don't want to be alone in this. I don't want to survive this alone." The wind lifted her hair, and I saw the fear in her eyes, not fear of the island, but fear of isolation. It wasn't romance. It wasn't desperation. It was human. "I want us to choose each other," she said. "To be kind to each other. No matter what happens." I swallowed hard. Back home, I'd spent years building walls. After my divorce, I stopped letting people close. It felt safer that way. But on that island, there were no walls. Just sky, ocean, and two human beings trying to make it through. "I choose you," I said quietly. From that day on, something changed. We laughed more. We shared stories about our pasts. She told me about her daughter's obsession with dinosaurs. I told her about my failed attempts at cooking after my ex-wife left. We became a team in a deeper way. When she felt weak, I carried the heavier loads. When I lost hope, she reminded me why we couldn't quit. Kindness became our survival tool. On the seventh day, just when exhaustion was starting to win, we heard it. A distant hum. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Then Claire jumped to her feet. "Do you hear that?" We ran to the beach. Out on the horizon, a small fishing boat was moving slowly along the coast. We screamed. We waved burning branches from the fire. We jumped up and down like children. For a terrifying moment, the boat kept moving. And then, it turned. I don't remember the details clearly after that. Just the overwhelming relief as the fishermen pulled us aboard. The taste of fresh water. The sound of a radio crackling with voices. We were taken back to the mainland. To hospitals. To phone calls filled with tears. Claire's daughter ran into her arms at the marina 2 days later. I stood back and watched, my chest tight. Before she left, Claire walked over to me. "You kept your promise," she said. "So did you." She smiled. "We survived because we chose kindness," she said. "Don't forget that." I haven't. Back in Chicago, life returned to normal on the surface. Work. Traffic. Bills. But I wasn't the same. I started volunteering at a local shelter once a week. I called my parents more often. I apologized to my ex-wife for the ways I had shut down during our marriage. Because I realized something on that island: survival isn't just about food and fire. It's about choosing to care. Claire and I still talk sometimes. Not every day. Not even every week. But every time we do, there's a quiet understanding between us. We were strangers thrown together by a storm. But it was kindness that saved us. So if you're watching this right now, maybe you're not trapped on an island. Maybe your storm looks different. A hard divorce. A job loss. A lonely apartment. A silent dinner table. Whatever it is, remember this. You don't have to survive it alone. Choose someone. Offer hope. Wrap a piece of your dress around someone's wound. Say, I choose you, even if it just means standing beside them in their fear. Kindness doesn't just make life nicer. Sometimes, it saves it. And maybe the most powerful words we can ever say aren't dramatic or poetic. Maybe they're simple. I'm just a human, and you matter to me. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Let's build a world where, even in the middle of the storm, we choose kindness. Because you never know whose life you might help save.